Hey, yo! Hello, everyone. Jam here at Peaceful Media. Are you familiar with me yet? Hey, Randy Davis. I'm going to give some shout outs here in the chat. Definitely watching this. It's good to see you all here in the live broadcast. The AMA. Hey, I want a quick poll. Actually, I'm going to post a poll right now. I need to know from you guys if did you know what an AMA was before my explanation? Yes, or no, I'm not hip enough. Okay. Preview. Publish. Okay, I want to know from everyone, let's see, can you see that poll? Let me know if you can see that poll come through. Where do I post it? Oh, already people are answering. Yes, duh, 17%. Oh, this is kind of cool. I'm watching the stats of this poll come in real time. 83% said, no, I'm not hip enough. I know, I felt the same way. I was deep in some Squarespace knowledge base, and this guy posts, hey, AMA about whatever, launching your website. And I was like, what the heck are you talking about? And then there's no explanation. Everybody just kind of knew what to do there. So I was like, what, am I just not cool enough or what? So I learned something that day. I had to Google it, and I wanted to turn that knowledge around to serve you guys. So welcome, everyone. It looks like the room is getting very full, and Nancy, yes, OVO tells me exactly where you come from. There's so many acronyms in the internet marketing space for good reason, just to simplify things and present things in these high-level strategies in frameworks that are, implementation friendly. So OVO is from Brendan Burchard world. That's his model or his version of Jeff Walker's PLF, which is product launch formula. And both of those styles involve 3 videos that give their ass off. Share, give, and then knowing that at the end, if people want to go deeper, it's going to be an easy decision because you've already received so much value and you've seen, does this person deliver upon his or her promise? And does the training incite something to that you want to go and implement or see in your life? So it's very popular. You've probably been on multiple 3 or 4 part series trainings like that where there's an offer at the end. So let's see. Would I repeat what an AMA is? Yeah, Kevin. So AMA is Ask Me Anything. So it's just a great opportunity. I've seen it in Reddit a lot, where so an expert just comes in and says, hey, I'm a lawyer. I specialize in this. Ask me anything. And it's just, kind of free consults and a chance for that person to stand out. And honestly, it's a kind of a nifty way. It's like a condensed version of everything we just went through. You demonstrate your authority, you give freely, and sales come naturally after that. I mean, people need to see that, you know your stuff, you're trustworthy, and that gets me hooked. That gets me onto the next level. I'm going to get on a discovery session. So that just happened recently for me on a Reddit channel where a lawyer is just asking, I'm just answering questions for days. It just kept coming back, all these great questions, and people were saying, God, this guy is really knowledgeable, and I'm sure he drummed up a ton of business from that. So it's the same concept. We talked about this in session 3, and I think you got the spirit of it the whole way through. We're in a giving period, of giving being our marketing tool. So however you want to express that, whether it's PLF, OVO, 4 videos, webinar, AMAs on Reddit, you're going to pick your style. It could be free workshops. I mean, this isn't like only an online thing or an online marketing thing. You can go out there into your local market and just put up free workshops. I think you saw in session 3, accidentally a clip got in that I put on my editing timeline that showed, my card up on a message board at Starbucks. And I didn't notice that clip was in there, and it got produced, and I was like, it's too late, it's going out. Had nothing to do with what I was talking about at that point, but maybe you noticed that. And, message boards are really hard to find now. I spent like an hour and a half touring around Portland asking, do you know where I can post like business cards? Because I just really wanted that shot in the video. And it's surprisingly difficult to find that anymore. So, but I think if you do, maybe Portland's just too hip for message boards now. Like, we're all online. If it's not sending a push notification to my mobile app, my phone, then I'm not there. I'm not paying attention. But if you have message boards, then certainly what I was, this is what I was trying to demonstrate in that is certainly on a wall of business cards. This has parallels from offline to online. In a wall of websites, in a wall of brands, in a wall of products, in a wall of thought leaders, in a wall of message board business cards of people offering their products and services, the one that is probably going to lead to the most business is one that gives right on its surface. So my handwriting was super crude on that business card, but offering, so let's say I'm a Reiki healer, I'm offering you a free 15-minute session or a free workshop, a live workshop, a healing, mini retreat here on Saturday at 9 a.m., come and get 15 minutes of free energetic healing. That is going to stand out way more than what I was seeing on that message board of, come to this Reiki workshop for $300. Where's that spirit of giving? Where's that spirit of they've got my back? So certainly there's a time and place and location for making an offer. You have to do that to make your business run. And I applaud, that Reiki workshop owner, for doing that. But I think he would drum up, or he or she would drum up more interest if something was given right out of the gates. So you've heard me say this a few times, a little bit of housekeeping. I am watching the chats actively, and what I'm looking for are questions. So this, as you all know, this is an AMA, so you get to ask me any questions you want about the training, about your online brand. This is free consulting. I just wanted to give again. So I have a few questions that we're gonna have a train going by. I have a few questions that came in from some of you, like Kevin and Bruce, and I hope I'm saying these names correctly, Ursilia and Sharar, that I've just noticed on the comments throughout the training or submitted through email, etc. So I'll go through some of those, but I'm going to be honest, I don't have a ton of questions for you. Maybe I overtrained or answered every question along the way, but I'm hoping to make this most useful for you this period is to ask personal questions about your brand, about your business, about your website, about your tools, about your psychology. Bruce had a question in session 3 when we started talking about money and making offers and sales. He brought up the whoa, screeching brakes moment in my spirit right now, because the notion of selling or making offers it brings up so much inner turmoil, for him. And so I think that's something really important to address. I think generally speaking, this partly goes for all of life, but at least half of our success in this online brand development, online business success is going to come from your mindset. I've seen, I didn't really go into this on the training videos, but I have 7 critters, and they're really just psychological obstacles. And I think more than the tech, because there's tons of tech training out there, you know, like on Udemy, on YouTube, on, you know, right here. So why don't more people have their expression, their brand expression, their platform out there? It's not tech, and it's not because of budget. I can just take those ones right out of the way. Those are paradigms that unless they get broken or shifted, are going to continue to keep you from being where you're at with your business. So I definitely want to go into that, and maybe I'll share some of my critters with you, because I used to be an illustrator, unpaid, a freelance unpaid illustrator for a comic series I created called The Adventures of Bunny Love. And so I really get a kick out of illustrating. So I illustrated the critters for you so that we can have some fun with it. Okay, so let's see. Lots of great questions coming in. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, Wayne, you guys want me to start with the critters? Or would you like me to talk about tech first? Psychology or tech? Oh, I should create another poll. Okay, the end results of our poll, by the way, AMA, 22% yes, duh, 78% no, I'm not hip enough. I mean, if nothing else comes from this expert website launch blueprint series, then at least you know what an AMA is. Okay, I'm going to start a new poll. Let's see. What do you think holds you back the most? Again, I'm going to take what do you think? Okay, tech, psychology. Okay. And publishing that. Let's see what you guys say. Okay, so while those are coming in, tech, okay, great. All right, so while those are coming in, let's talk about tech first. I see Kevin and Wayne telling me, yeah, okay. So speaking of giving, I'm gonna just go through these. Speaking of giving, I deliver a free weekly vlog that is pitch free for engagement and trust building. I always try to provide a place for feedback, and it works. Amen. That's your No Hoops value blog that we talked about in session 1, the 10 must-have elements. And I love that you're doing that and that you're committed to it. You're consistent. I'm putting together a few success stories of people who started exactly where you're at in our world over the last 10 plus years of doing this. And they really started there. They started with, I launched a personal blog, and it started to connect with people, and people started to notice that I was an authority on something, you know, just by me doing a personal blog. They started asking me questions and asking me to go deeper or coach them or show them the way. And suddenly, like before I knew it, I had a business. So there's so many of those success stories, and I have some common through lines or threads amongst those personalities and characters and business arcs. So I'm going to share some of those in our session 4, and I'm excited to do that. But that's to your point, Wayne, that's exactly where it happened. Now, I think in session 2, perhaps, well, I can't remember. But remember, at the bottom of your blog, you're going to want, or surrounding your blog, really, like in as many places as possible while keeping classy, do have a call to action to join your list so that people can go get more value from you and deepen the relationship with you. Maybe you're already doing that. But I love that you have comments. So Squarespace has 2 comment engines. One is called Discuss, and that's a popular, it's a social commenting. Like once you have one login, it's kind of like Facebook comments, where once you have one login, any site you go to will keep you logged in and allow you to sort of see your connection to all these different places that you're posting, and treat it like almost like a blogging social media comment system for yourself. Yeah, so it's really, that's really, that's what we use at Peaceful Media, and that's what I recommend to some of our clients who have lots of engagement from their blog, and it seems to work really well. But it also, Squarespace also has kind of a default basic comment system as well, if you aren't into that. Okay, so Wayne, sounds like you've done PLF launches. Awesome. PLF, again, is Jeff Walker's world. Let's see, Nancy, you talked about an expert website needs. So from EA with BB, more acronyms, Experts Academy with Brandon Burchard, you talked about what an expert website needs. What is the best source to learn how to do an actual opt-in and all the tech stuff? Nancy, can you, I'm going to take that one direction, but if I'm not hitting it, let's, I'll readdress it, okay? So what is the best source to learn how to do an actual opt-in and all the tech stuff? Shameless plug here, Launch 31. I don't know if you were trying to tee me up for that, but yeah, Launch 31 is where I show you how to not only create the actual opt-in, but the landing pages, connect it to your email marketing system, as well as how to create your lead magnet. Why is someone opting in? Whether that's the discovery session or that LGM, we call it an LGM here, another acronym. A lead magnet such as your guidebook checklist or audio/video training. So I show everyone how to do just that in Launch 31. So if you wanted me to go a different direction, let me know. Let's see, Red. Is that your real name? I want to know. Is it better to do paid marketing to find first few clients or find them and then give an offer? Ooh. I might want a little bit more context around that. Red, can you tell me what your business is, who your audience is, where they hang out, and what some of your offers are? And then I might be able to give you a little bit better answer, more nuanced answer. I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with starting with paid marketing, as long as you have the resources. But I've also seen most of our clientele, John, correct me if I'm wrong, John Randak, our #1 digital marketing and advertising specialist here, Red's question is it better to do paid marketing to find first few clients or find them and then give an offer? I mean, both, Red, technically both of those options, paid or otherwise, are finding them, right? So there's not an either or there. They both find your audience. I think it comes down to the, come on in, John. Oh,
yeah, that way I'm not shouting on screen.
Yeah.
So I'm not totally clear on the two options. The first one is pay for them or find them, like finding, what's the elsewhere, finding them elsewhere?
Yeah, that's kind of wondering too. So Red, maybe you can post some more. Oh, Red, no. Are we totally off here? Oh, maybe it was about the resources. You don't have the resources to start with paid marketing, then that would be, that'd be a clear answer for me,
Well, I guess I would try to,
come on in, John.
Oh no, I'm here. I've worked, so I handle traffic strategy for Peaceful Media, and I think a lot of people say they can't afford pay-per-click marketing or they can't afford to pay for any traffic whatsoever. And I've worked for really big companies where we're spending $10,000 to $50,000 per month on their PPC campaign. And then I've worked for mom and pop companies here in Oregon who have a budget of $100 a month or $50 a month. And I would recommend paid traffic for everyone. I think that across different mediums, especially something like AdWords. Can you remind me what his business was or what his industry
was? His or her, I don't know. Red's an unknown
sorry.
Here. Red, let's just call.
Yeah. So I think for every industry and every business, there are ways to get paid traffic. And there are the kind of 3 levels of the funnel. And I won't go too deep into this, but there's top of the funnel, which is a huge group of people. There's the middle of the funnel as it gets smaller. And then there's the bottom of the funnel. And what you want to do when you have a small budget is go after the bottom of the funnel. So these are more long tail keywords that are hyper specific to what you do and what your industry is. So for example, you might not be able to go after like really general keywords if you were in home remodeling or something like that. You might not be able to do all of the home remodeling or contract, like the word like contractor, you know what I mean? Like that's really broad at the top of the funnel. You might have to go over something like home remodeling in Portland, Oregon kitchen or something like that, where it's really specific to what you do. And then you maybe spend like $10 a day or something like that. So that's where you start. When you're first starting out, you can find what are called long tail keywords that are hyper specific to what your industry is. And you just start out with those. And then as you sort of like grow in size and your budget increases, you sort of work your way up the funnel. And that would be my advice.
That's,
something like that.
That's great advice. Yeah. And all of this is what John teaches in the digital marketing boot camp and does on a private personalized basis, one-on-one in the traffic booster. You will see an offer for that later down the road. So just so you know. Let's see. Randy, does podcast require, welcome Randy, I haven't said hi to you yet. Does a podcast require a different URL than main URL used on Squarespace? Require a different URL? No, I mean, you can put your podcast right there on Squarespace, on your Squarespace blog. And it does have a connection to iTunes. So I believe you can sync it up with iTunes, or no, you put your iTunes episode URL right into Squarespace, and it comes into the player. So yeah, you could definitely do that. Red, so we answered your question, Red. I'll tell you a funny story about how I got my first client. It certainly wasn't paid advertising. I definitely stumbled my way into this. Let's see, Wayne, but I'll tell you that if we have a point where I don't have questions. Wayne is a video newsletter. I need to get it to the real deal ASAP. Oh yeah, Wayne. So you're sending out a newsletter. You can't embed YouTube videos into a newsletter. So you must be sending them over to YouTube or Vimeo or something. I'd send them over to your blog. Actually, you could make a case either way. You can send them to your blog because that's where your business happens. That's where people opt in. That's where people check out your services and products. So I like that for that purpose. But I also think that you would build up more engagement through the YouTube tools, like the likes and the subscribes over on YouTube. Let's see. Okay, Kevin, you asked, at what point does the website creation process start? Would you suggest building a Facebook group page, and why? I love the idea of starting with a Facebook group. Why? Because especially if you don't have 1,000% clarity about who you're serving, what their pain points are, how you address them, how you attract them, like if those are all nebulous for you right now, and you don't have a whole lot of resources, if like zero, then go over to Facebook group and start inviting people into your Facebook group. Go join other Facebook groups that are in similar themes or industries and topics, and start listening. Your best marketing copy, your best advertisements, your best pitches, your sales, even your products will be sourced in your avatar's words. Avatar/target audience, probably heard that word. So it's going to be sourced in there. When I first started Launch 31, maybe you've seen this, maybe you filled this survey out, I gathered 100 surveys. And Kevin, I saw that you're doing a Survey Monkey on Facebook to gather. Good job. You're going through that creating a loyal audience guidebook that we sent right after you registered for the series. So you're doing great work there. Go and go and listen to those voices. And in my world, I literally copied and pasted some of the lines from the survey responses. So you're going to want a little bit of quantitative data from your survey. So that's like the poll, rank your level of frustration with X, Y, and Z from 1 to 10 or 1 to 3, for instance. And you start seeing trends for what are the biggest pain points for folks. And then always include other, so that they can explain in their own words what their biggest frustration is. So you'll ask quantitative and qualitative, and I'm telling you, in that other section of the responses, my copy was written, in the first beta launch of Launch 31. So I highly, highly recommend it. And Kevin, I commend you for taking the initiative and courageously. I don't know about the adding everyone to a Facebook Messenger, but I'm assuming all of those were friends and colleagues and people that are okay with you. That's a little aggressive, but it depends on your relationship with those people. But I love that you're hustling to go get your audience's input. That's the key to success, man. So okay, let's see, anything below this? Okay. Jen, I hope you're enjoying your chai tea, maybe a glass of red wine. Okay, let's go further up here. Post your questions here in the chat, and I will get to them. Great. Yeah, Wayne, you're doing it right. Give out there free speaking, build up an audience, whether that's free YouTubes or free live workshops or speaking opportunities. All of those are great ways to start building up some momentum. Okay, it looks like I answered the questions in the chat. I'm going to go over to some other questions. Maybe we'll start with Kevin's. Go ahead and keep posting. I'll get to all of them. Let's see, Kevin, you asked, to what extent did I work with Dr. Carrie Rose? Did I go through her program? Yeah, so Dr. Carrie Rose is whom I refer people who need great support in developing their course. She just came out with a best-selling book, the completed course. I have gone through her course. I went through her course to enhance, after doing my beta launch of Launch 31, I wanted to enhance it. I wanted to get feedback from someone, a PhD in, and she literally is a PhD in curriculum development and online course development. So I went to her, and we were both speaking at the same event. So she gave me an opportunity to go in there, and I signed up for a course and got a lot of great feedback, on ways to improve. So highly recommend it. Let's see. Oh, okay. Kara. Happy birthday, Kara. I know it's, okay, so Kara works for a financial services company, and we have a website, but our blog is seriously lacking. Would you recommend having one of our employees start writing the blog sporadically, or waiting until we can hire a copywriter? Okay, how much copy is there? Yeah, how much copy is there?
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
John's question. Okay. Oh, that employee would be you?
Right.
Oh.
Should they hire a copywriter?
Kara, I see. I know Kara personally, so I don't advise that. I don't advise that. You hate it, and why would we? I mean, it's a little different as an employee because you do a lot of things you hate when you're an employee, right? Or things that you'd rather not do. And that's not exclusively for people who work as an employee, but I find that there's a lot more of that than in running your own business. Okay, that aside, I don't think great work is going to come from an uninspired writer who really doesn't. I mean, I've heard your responses to requests to write, and they look like this. Like that's what it starts with every time. So why put yourself, I mean, you're not going to get the results. So here's what I would recommend for a financial services company who almost more than anything, any other industry of thought leadership, trust is a mandatory element. You know, word of mouth, great. That's one source of trust. But can I go and feel you out and understand that your resonant brand distinction, understand your essence, and feel the energy of your message and the way you deliver and who you are. This is a very, very personal, intimate relationship, probably one of the most intimate in the business professional services or personal professional services, is letting someone look at your money situation, you know, and, you know, make recommendations, etc. So instead of writing, I would go and do an Ask Me Anything on a weekly or monthly basis, and put that as your main opt-in on your site, throughout your site. So probably monthly, right? A monthly Ask Us Anything, Ask AMA for, you know, financial advice. And I know this gets into tricky places for financial services, so find your nuance to this. But and then your opt-in is, it collects an extra field. So name, maybe not even name, just email and what's your question. You get a bank of questions, and on a monthly basis, you have one of your financial advisors look into the camera just like this and record the AMA. That you post to your blog, go get a transcript to it. And because I know financial services and wealth management companies can afford transcriptions, or at the very least, a little 400-word synopsis of what's included or the questions that were addressed. Those should be written anyways from your respondents, and post those to your blog. John, any feedback on that? John's an SEO master.
Are you asking about copywriting?
No, you had to hear everything I just said.
Oh, okay.
I won't explain it more. All right. For the purposes of keeping on track here. Okay, so let's see. Nancy, take a drink of water so her voice doesn't go out. If we were to pay someone else to do the expert website for us, how much would it roughly cost? Anywhere from $50, anywhere from $50 to to the moon. You know, 50,000. We've done $70,000 websites. It really depends on your features and scope. I think everything that I showed you in our sessions and what's included in Launch 31, I think you could find people out there to do it for $1,000 or $2,000. We'll go into some pros and cons about that. I think there's definitely some pros to hiring it out, and but there's definitely some cons that you need to be aware of. We'll go into that into session 4 when we're putting together your 45-day action plan, because that's really going to be one of your decisions: is how do I approach this? I know what needs to be built, and I also know some how. If you went through the whole series, you know some how at this point. So your question will be, some of your questions will be, what's my best use of time? What's my best use of resources? And looking beyond the website launch, do I want to continue to be reliant upon someone else for all of my website and marketing needs? You know, it kind of, to me at least, and maybe this is just, I'm a control freak, or that I like to be hands-on, or that I get a creative buzz from doing the online work, is that I don't want to be hung up by someone else. You know, I want to understand enough about the tools of marketing my business to be able to use them personally. So to me, that's worth going through training, you know, to go and launch that way in the DIY. So there's a DIY, and then there's a DIY with major support, and that's kind of where Launch 31 fits in. We'll go into that on session 4. Does that answer your question though, Nancy? It sucks because it's kind of it depends. Depends on quality, depends on features, the scope of work. I know for, most of our Squarespace sites where we're doing custom branding and we're doing all the work, maybe even some copywriting a little bit, those come in around 10K, but there are certainly cheaper places to get that done. Okay, let's see. Wayne, I have a WordPress website. So, Squarespace is a software service. With Squarespace, I have my own URL. So nothing goes back to SS, right? Want to build traffic for us, not the company. Yes, with Squarespace, you have your own URL. So thoughtleader.website, forestreiki.com. You can check out some of our other Launch 31 students like marvintowler.com, martinfox.io, mandydeaglesmith.com. Like, those are just a few that pop into my mind right now, but those are all on Squarespace. They're all on their own URL. Yep. Let's see, Wayne. Yes, Wayne, you're right. Kara, I hope you saw Wayne's response right above yours. I teach and train coach financial advisors. Well, this is very pertinent. We have a resident expert here in the chat. Most have way too many places where they send visitors to other links. Yeah, I wonder if it's because of risk. I know there are some pretty tight restrictions from, the SEC and FCC, federal FTC. Yeah, too many acronyms. Okay, Nancy, your nuance to that was with all the components that you recommend. Yeah, again, it's going to depend on quality. So that scope of work, if we're doing it with the branding, with some custom design, copywriting, and putting all the content and resources together, would be around 10K. That's just one price on a major spectrum. Some people do those for 2,000 or 3,000. It's just at a different level. Okay, let's see. Too many advisors that have pitches that turn people off, like call me for a free consultation or call for a quote. Yeah, so sometimes in some worlds, trust is so necessary that even for your free stuff, even for your the first step of your marketing and sales funnel, it still requires so much trust, even if it's just an email and a phone name, that people don't convert, people don't do it. And I think financial services is probably one of those. So what are we going to do? What are we going to do to overcome that challenge? We're going to give our ass off. No, literally, give your ass off, but you're going to give thoroughly and allow people to, that's why we call it no hoops value. There's no hoops. Your trust building, authority building, credibility building, valuable content is just sitting out there in the open, whether that's social media or your no hoops value blog. Allow people to feel and nurture an indirect relationship with you first before they take that first step. Okay. Any other questions? Go ahead and chat them in. Let's see. Kevin, you asked, what's the difference between a 45-day action plan and Launch 31? The same thing. The 45-day action plan is kind of like the foundation or the container for Launch 31. So kind of like the timeline framework for Launch 31. Does that make sense? Launch 31 is the training curriculum that takes you through all the steps to launch your site and marketing systems. And we buffer it on the front end with 14 days of time to prep your content. It's guided. We give you a content blueprint, tell you, how to think through all of your copywriting and images and materials so that 14 days, you kind of put a flag down on your calendar and say, I'm going to have my content to a 6 out of 10 or better and by that day, so that when I get into launch 31, we're actually start implementing that content, you're not trying to like figure out tech and figure out how to push, you know, things where they need to go while writing copy. Okay, so that's why it's a 45-day action plan. Perfect. Glad I answered your question there, Kevin. Thanks. Good one. Okay. Any other questions? Go ahead and post them. Let's see. I'm going to jump over to Bruce. So Bruce, I'm going to read it because I think so this is in the critter department. Critters. Okay. Question that I hope is common to others. And this is from one of the Facebook comments underneath one of the session 3. Why do we get wobbly knees when we start thinking about actually selling something? I'm cruising along in this training and it was like tires screeching in my spirit on this video. Maybe we don't think we have enough value to offer to others to actually sell. I know that's more of an internal question than about building a website, but I'm asking anyhow. No, that's a perfectly relevant and pertinent question to all this. Like I said in the beginning, I think overcoming or getting over some of those paradigms, the critters, is at least half of this game, at least half. And, you know, Bruce, this goes back to how I started my business. So I'm going to tie this in. I didn't know what I had. You know, I didn't know that it was a very marketable and useful skill to know Photoshop. Remember I told you I was illustrating? Well, I was doing a little bit of Photoshop, just like trying to learn, you know, and clumsily creating things. I didn't know that that was really valuable until I needed to, when we were writing our book, Project Everlasting, where I was designing covers for the book and designing sponsorship decks and designing big logos that would go on the side of our RV as we went around the country, and designing postcards and all that stuff, right? I didn't know also that learning how to cut video combined with design and combined with, you know, some copywriting ability and combined with being a basic maintenance man on our Project Everlasting website. Or when I say basic, I mean like drag and drop, no HTML. I didn't know that the combination of those 4 things made what my brain and my skill set valuable in the marketplace. And so when I say I stumbled into Peaceful Media, I stumbled into creating a business around this, I was so broke and disheartened and just freaking out that I asked the builder of my new home up there on Orcas Island, I asked the builder if I could get work pounding nails for $25 an hour, which to me at that point sounded like great, you know, better than the coffee shop, you know, better than what I would make down at the local coffee shop. So I asked him that first, and he said, yeah. I mean, do you have any experience? And I was like, no. And as a secondary question, I didn't even go into it with this intention. I just threw out, or do you know anybody who needs a website? You know, haphazardly. And he says, oh yeah, I need a website and I need branding and like decals and logos on the side of my truck. And I've never had any of that stuff. It's just like a homemade sign on the side of my truck that says Rick's Construction. And I was like, oh, awesome. Let me put together a proposal. You know, I have never done that for a website, but I put together sponsorship decks, right? So like this is all starting to build. And I put together a package for $5K. My first client, $5K for full branding and website, done, write all the copy for you, etc. And like I said earlier, I spent the first 4.5 weeks taking online tutorials about code. And in the last 3 or 4 days, scratching it together. And that was my first site. I did 3 or 4 of those before I even put a name to this. Before I remember driving, like going, gosh, I'm having a meeting with a prospect this is for my 4th client. I think this is a real business. People are paying me. And I've seen the same thing apply to many of our success stories here at Peaceful Media. Weird. People are commenting a lot and liking a lot and sharing a lot and asking me to sell them something, offer them something. So I think when you get into that spirit of giving and you step into enough of your expression, Bruce, that you start getting market feedback, that can go a long way. It can go a really long way when people start telling you explicitly, I'll pay you money for that advice. When that starts happening, that means that you've done the work of building up your authority, credibility, and resonant brand distinction in the marketplace. And when you've done that, the sales happen naturally. And more so, I mentioned this in session 2, I believe, trust. I'm going to put trust and credibility at the very top of the mental triggers that allow for this to happen naturally. I saw this, and I did mention this. I had an investigative, person, a person who is almost literally like treating this training series as an investigation of me and Peaceful Media, and is this legit? There's so much crap out there, or malintentioned folks out there. I'm not trying to scare you, but there's people who are really just out to get your money. So I get it. Like, unfortunately, we have to have these massive demonstrations of our authority and our credible nature and our energy. Remember, we talked in session 2 or session 3 about our energy in order for people to go to the next level and give you a credit card or pay for something from you. So, Bruce, I don't know if you're here. Can't remember if you're here, but I want you to take that in, hopefully on the replay or here, if you're here, and start expressing yourself, and allow the market feedback to just strengthen your wings. Does that make sense? I got to tell you, in this process of doing this launch for Launch 31, doing these trainings, I haven't felt one iota of ickiness in anything I've said, in anything I've offered or seeded or, dropped hints at. I want you to, like when I mention Launch 31 throughout the series, I want you to have a context. By the time you get done with those 3 series, I need you to have a context for what Launch 31 is, and have enough to go and do it on your own, or to decide if you want my support all along the way. I want to make that decision as easy as possible, right? So you see Marie Forleo doing this in B School, like, everything leading up to the offer is allowing someone to have contextual understanding and frameworks and a view of what's on the other side of the paywall. So none of it felt icky, and all of it felt like a demonstration of my love for you guys and humanity, and for people who are trying to make a positive difference. And with that spirit, with that energy, you know, everything else takes care of itself. Okay. I don't know who the premier prosperity, wealth consciousness expert out there is. Well, one of our clients, Mary Morrissey, back in the day, she was my first big client. Maybe you've heard of her. She's a spiritual prosperity, you know, prosperity mindset, wealth consciousness, business development person, a guru, you know, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of followers. You know, she's great at this. And I grew up alongside her with my best friend. So learned a lot from that and continue to learn from that. But I think when we're giving, selling is just easy. Okay. Anyways, that was my Mary Morrissey moment. Questions. Let's see. Thank you, Wayne. I appreciate that. Yeah. I saw a lot of that spirit, that sentiment. That's why we trust you and your advice. I get it. It's the same reason why we buy from Brendan Burchard or Jeff Walker or Marie. Like, just they've demonstrated so much value and built up so much trust that it's kind of like, it really becomes a question of, do I need this? And do I have the resources, time, energy, money, you know, to do it? So the question becomes really distilled, right? The variety of answers becomes really distilled. Okay. Ursilia. Okay, Kevin. Kevin, I will answer a lot of questions about Launch 31 in the session 4, while also giving you a real 45-day action plan. It's not just a big pitch sesh, but yeah, if you want to hold on to those until we present that on Monday morning, 9 a.m. PST, 12 noon Eastern, that will go live. Registration will begin for Launch 31. So there's my little commercial. Okay, Wayne, good idea. Make a list of everything you know and start seeing if that's valuable out in the marketplace. Okay, so I'm going to go, unless I see other questions come in, I'm going to go over to Ursilia's question that she asked in Facebook. And I understand that she's the owner-operator of a Holistic Treats London Massage and Energy Therapy Services company. I'm assuming out of UK. Oh my gosh, I want that. I want that real bad right now. I'm getting a great massage for my birthday on Sunday, and I'm going to do a sensory deprivation tank and float and just reward myself for doing a lot of late nights here in the office recently. And for my birthday, damn it, I'm 40. Okay. So is it possible to have, Ursilia's question is it possible to have a recorded online course, $297 tier 3 info product we talked about in session 3, as a built-in part of this Squarespace website we're creating, or will the course have to be hosted elsewhere? Okay, so I'm going to answer that one first because you also asked, what about tier 2 as a membership? I'll come to that second. And I posted my answer in the Facebook comments too, but I think that's a good question for everybody to start thinking about. Depends is always a part of my question, or a part of my answer. But here's what I would do if I don't have a ton of resources and I want to get something really basic and fast going. In that case, I would use Squarespace. I showed you how I delivered my online training program in session 3. I showed you that I gave them a digital license PDF. Like, that's what they were buying the course, but the way I get them into that course is by giving them a digital license, which unlocks a password protected page, right? That's not as simple as a true membership site or online course delivery site, something that's specific to delivering curriculum where they would log in. That's the big difference. Nobody's going to be logging into your Squarespace. It's not built for that. You're going to be logging in, right? But it doesn't have a username and password portal entry point doorway for your students. So that's why if I'm just hustling to make my first my first 60K or my first even 6 figures, maybe I'm using that method that I showed you in session 3. Could you continue to deliver just like that? Yes. In fact, you could when they purchase, perhaps I think, anyways, I'm gonna put this out as a possibility. Subscribe them to a particular drip sequence, a drip autoresponder series in MailChimp that keeps sending the student who just purchased links to password protected posts or pages in your Squarespace, and it would feel a little bit more like I'm getting a new module or new lesson on a drip basis. It's coming out over time. So that would be kind of the way I'd start. Now, if that works and you're selling it and you want to create a traditional online course delivery and you want to start supplementing like we do with other courses, we have like 4 or 5 courses. I should know the answer to that. We have 4 or 5 courses in Peaceful University. So when you start getting to that point, you don't want to have all of these little chains of MailChimp and password protected pages delivering your course. That makes sense. But at that point, you're probably at a stage in your business where you go out and reach for a Kajabi, which is what we use, or a Teachable, or a Thinkific, or even deliver it through a Facebook group. I think that's actually pretty reasonable too. That would be for a live course, so you'd have to create a new wave every time you go to sell the course. So that wouldn't work on an evergreen basis, not on a perpetual basis, like the way I'm delivering tier 3 in session 3. It's training, right? Does that make sense? So, Marcelia, I don't even know if you're registered for this, but I hope that answers a question that maybe you guys have. Okay, tea time. Okay, we'll probably go for another 15 minutes or so, unless a bunch of questions keep flooding in. Okay, Wayne. Okay, Kevin, sounds good. I mean, if you want to ask a question, Kevin, I will answer, but I also think you'll get everything in that presentation. Okay, Wayne, is it easy or difficult to move content from a WordPress site to a Squarespace site? I know it's relatively easy to do it from the other way around, but I'd have to Google that one, Wayne. Yeah, Wayne, it sounds like you're at a point in your business. I don't know if you'd be comfortable just saying yes or no. Is your business doing over 100? Are you doing 6 figures plus? Because that's really where I think of tools like Infusionsoft and WordPress and APIs, like all that starts coming in and becoming really important. But I don't know if moving over to Squarespace is totally the right move for you at this stage. Hope that answers your question. You can give me more nuance if you'd like. Okay. Sandy, question. What do you think of using Optimized Press 2? Oh yeah, that's another option for delivering course curriculum. Yeah, that works on a WordPress. Absolutely. Create the same kind of website you showed us with that. I already bought that, you see. Okay, yeah, so you bought Optimized Press very reasonably, I'm assuming. It's about $99 or so. It's a plugin. It's a premium plugin that you install into WordPress, and it gives you marketing and sales and membership delivery tools, basically. membership course delivery tools. So it's a really great value plugin. My only complaint about it, and maybe they've changed this, is that it really looks like 90s, early 2000s internet marketing, kind of gross on the aesthetic. Like, for me, maybe it's just because I'm deeply embedded in this industry, but you know, all their templates and so forth look like kind of the gross marketing approaches that used to work. You know, so okay, no, but if you, to your point, yeah, you could use, you know, like the homepage, how to design a stellar homepage session too. You could certainly go and build that on Optimized Press and WordPress. Absolutely, use that same framework, or something better. You know, use that framework, bend it, whatever you need to do. But yeah, you can certainly build that over there. Okay. Wayne says, yeah, I'm assuming there's a K after those 500s. You got Infusionsoft. If you're making $500 to $600 per year, then Infusionsoft just ate into a big chunk of your revenue, right? But so 500, yeah, dude, you're at a point where, you know, I think you've outgrown Squarespace at $500,000 plus per year. That's really the point where it's no brainer that you're over on a big platform, a big boy, big girl platform. And I know there's some Squarespace thought leaders out there who are doing the same amount. It's not like you can't make that money. It's just that the investment of doing a custom WordPress and Infusionsoft and APIs is just totally cost prohibitive for someone who's doing, you know, 60K, I think. Okay, Nancy. Okay, Nancy, can you tell us more about Launch 31? I'm really torn between doing this myself and hiring someone to do the tech stuff. And I will do all the copywriting, blogs, vlogs, YouTube channel, FB ads. Oh, wow, you're going to get into FB ads yourself. I consider all of those skills you just did, copywriting and FB ads in particular, are demonstrating a high degree of marketing technology savvy. Marketing / technology savvy. So yeah, I mean, they press all the buttons. I just don't know if I should start on WordPress or Squarespace. Well, they press all the buttons, but when you're doing the blogs, what are you going to do? Let's say you create a new YouTube for your vlog, for your No Hoops Value blog. You create a new YouTube. Are you going to send that over to an assistant? Like a virtual assistant to go and post your blog? That's reasonable. Maybe you're paying that person $10 to $15 per hour. Yeah, that works. If you just do not want to be, you know, in your website whatsoever, then you just tell your team, you know, your assistant, what you need to have happen, and they go and figure it out. That could work. Yeah. And then that allows you to do, that is one of the values of 100% DIY. You're freed up. I'm sorry, not 100%. When you hire someone else out to do it, then yeah, sure. It frees up your time to focus on your copywriting, your blogs, your YouTube channel, your FB ads, for sure. Let's see, but yes, I'll tell you a little bit more about Launch 31. Do you want to wait for session 4? Because I'm going to go deeply into it. But I can just give you hints if you'd like, if you have specific questions. Okay. Sandy says, I want to use Optimized Press for my sales page website and following my teachings. That's great. Yeah, totally reasonable solution and robust solution for that matter. So based on what Wayne said and your answer, you think we should start on SS until we grow to $500,000 per year. Everyone's going to have a different break point here, but I certainly think Squarespace is a a great platform for less than or 6 figures, like 100K or less. Let's just be specific. 100K or less, roll this Squarespace, get it launched, go get some traction, being audience, list, authority, money, start making that 50, 60, 70, 80, 90K and let your business outgrow the tools that are totally unresource intensive. Our WordPress sites, I can't, as hard as I tried with our WordPress sites, because we're doing a lot of custom stuff, I couldn't get those scope of works down below 15K. So and again, there are so many shops that do that for $500 out there. You're just going to get what you pay for sometimes, for the most part. But for the most part, that applies in this industry. If you're offering bang up websites for $500, then you either have a 1,000-person team to handle all the volume, and they're all getting paid, $1 an hour or $2, or you don't have any life whatsoever, because all you're doing is banging out $500 websites so you can pay the rent. Okay. Anyways, that was about our industry. Our biggest year in the past, great, Wayne, 3.6 mil. Awesome. Okay. Curious, would you be able to relate your Launch 31 course while building using optimized press? No, Sandy, I wouldn't do Launch 31. I wouldn't do Launch 31 if, maybe. I just feel like 70% of Launch 31's curriculum wouldn't apply. No, maybe 60 to 70% wouldn't apply to you if you're building it out on WordPress. A lot of it is real. There's hardcore implementation. Not hard. It's just I'm showing you button by button what to press and how to think about what you're implementing. So that latter part, how to think about what you're implementing. So like, why am I using a headline here? What is in that headline? Why am I using images here? Why am I putting my call to action here? That kind of stuff would be useful to you. On any platform, is platform agnostic, in other words. But the other would be kind of annoying because you're watching me implement on a tool that doesn't have the same tools, right? So I think there are probably optimized press, courses out there that are specific to that and teach marketing strategy while implementing on the tool that you're using. Okay. Yay, Nancy, B School. I just kind of have a special place in my heart for B School. I really like the way Marie runs her business. And what your comment here, I just don't know about the tech. That's what I've heard from several Launch 31 students who came out of B School, and there's nothing wrong. Marie, when she goes and launches B School, she does not go out and promise, I'm going to show you step-by-step implementation of your technology. It's kind of like pointing you in the direction of things to go and research and explore. Resources. She gives you resources and strategy. She definitely gives you website strategy, but the how-to is left to your own devices. And I know she does steer people. There's 2 great platforms out there, Squarespace, WordPress. Which one works for you? And maybe Sandy, you've heard that. Oh, no, not Sandy. Sorry, Nancy. Okay, Wayne, he's suggesting that I wait for session 4, do things in the proper PLF sequence. Yeah, that's great. I'm totally happy. I told you, just ask me anything. So if there are just questions that are useful for everybody about Launch 31, great, I'll kind of answer them, but we're going to go into the fine details on Monday morning. Okay, our biggest years were before websites and emails. I want to get back there. Yeah, I know several of our clients built up massive followings when it was just the free workshop days, or low cost workshops, get all the attendees on an email list. And by the time they went online, I had 15,000 people subscribed to them in a following, a legitimate following. So it was easier to ramp up the online. Okay. We'll go for about 10, 15 more minutes. Keep any questions you have whatsoever, keep them coming in. I will go to another question I saw in the Facebook comments. Not really a question, but it's something I want to address. And maybe I'll wrap up with our 7 critters, because this question alludes to one of them. Alludes. I think my problem is I'm very indecisive when choosing what's best for my business. This is Sherar's. I tend to overthink because there are so many opportunities out there, so many ways in which I could design my website that I can't be satisfied enough to just stick with one thing for long periods of time. I really just need to buckle down and get over it so I can focus on marketing. Okay, you perfectly teed up 2 of the 7 critters. Let me see. You know what? If you give me 30 seconds, I could probably pull these up. Okay. And I'll share my screen with you. Over here. Okay, so this was my beta launch webinar for Launch 31. I think I had 5 people on there, 10 people maybe. But anyways, one of the things I touched on was why people get stuck. So the first one is, I'll just go through these. First one is the beginner bird. And that's someone who's just getting into the industry for the first time. They're completely flooded with possibilities and don't know. You see what? Okay. You don't know what's what. You don't know what questions to ask. You don't know what's credible, what's not, what's useful for you versus the 8-figure business. So you're just soaking things up and just kind of spinning, your head spinning on the possibilities. So there's one of the critters. There are 2 others. The second one is the procrastination turtle. And unfortunately, this is a lot of people. I will tell you, in Launch 31, buying a course, again, the shelf confidence, the shelf esteem is not where it's at, folks. Buying a course is not going to make your business go, especially if you don't watch the course, especially if you don't complete the course. We have an amazing completion percentage based on the research that Dr. Carrie Rose has done, where 2 to 3% of online course students actually complete their courses. That's what her research found. That's abominable. That 97+% of people paying you money for training and curriculum don't complete the course. So I'm really proud that our Launch 31 has been well over 30%. So 100, that's 100x at least. Is that 10x? Yeah, I think it's 10x. Anyways, it's been industry standard anyways. It's amazing. So I'm really proud of that. But the thing that's keeping those others, say 70%, procrastination turtle. Absolutely. I'll just get there someday. And there's really just going back to this, Launch 31 the whole framework is intended to take the procrastination out of it by giving you a daily action step. I mean, I break it down to a calendar so that you just know what you need to do each day to get this done on time. Okay, but some people just want to kind of stay on the sideline. Okay, bright, shiny object. Sherrar, you brought this one up too. So many things out there, and a lot of them have price tags. and they seem so valuable. The bright, shiny object squirrel sees, oh man, this acorn used to be $1,997, and now today it's only $2.99. What? Oh, there's a countdown right above it. Oh God, it's only gonna last for the next 2 hours. I must buy now. I'm making fun of myself here because I've done this. Everyone's done this. If you're here, this is how you start getting knowledge quickly. You start investing. You start investing in expertise and knowledge. Investing your time, like you've done in our expert website blueprint workshop, or investing your money when it goes into the next level of training. So it's nothing wrong with it, but when all we're doing is going out there and buying more things for our mental shelf and more things for our confidence. Hey, I signed up for Joe McGuruton's course. That alone is going to make me a badass $500,000 per year business. I guarantee you. No. Absolutely not. Okay. Our fourth critter is the motivational seesaw bear. You didn't mention this one, Sharar, but I also see this. You go to a marketing event or a business building event, or even an online course like B-School. And you go through it, you're fired up, you're going to do it. I've been in those rooms, and the excitement is through the roof. The expectations and self-promises that I am going to do this. I'm going to build my business and build my website and build my brand and my community just like Joe McGuruton. And the possibility of fail is 0%. They go home, they start thinking, they start going to their day-to-day, they start getting busy, they forget the motivational seesaw. They forget the inspiration, they forget the possibility. So it's the bear that asks, to be or not to be Joe McGuruton. That's a really tough one to say. I shouldn't have chosen McGuruton. Okay. Fifth is the budget sensitive monkey. Do you enjoy these drawings as much as I do? They just make me feel so good inside my heart. Okay, this is the monkey that's eating its own tails, thinking it's a banana. Budget is not, this is a metaphor, budget is not your problem. There's no excuse that revolves around budget. If you want to go and launch your brand and you have $0, you can find, if you want it badly enough, you can find it. You can find the training. It's the beauty of the internet today. Now, is it curated information? Is it taking you from A to Z in a comprehensive sequence and an expertly sequenced game plan? Probably not. But it can get you started. And if you keep asking those questions and keep listening to free advice out there, join a Facebook group. This information's out there. You can do it. It's the same thing I had to do when I decided to create this course. I didn't know anything about Squarespace. When Brendan asked if I could teach how to do a course, or not how to do a course, how to do a website with the basics of email list building and sales for some modules in Experts Academy, I had just gone through the whole experience of doing WordPress in that format, and it was a nightmare. It's a really tough thing to teach because it's open source. There's no one body of support. Yeah, sure, there's a knowledge base, but most of it's for coders. And advice is completely varying out there in authenticity, trustworthiness, etc. With Squarespace, I knew that they were going to have 24/7 support. Their support and knowledge base are amazing, amazing tools. And the software is that it kind of removes all of the dangers of self-hosting your own WordPress. You can't, I mean, you can get hacked. Everybody can get hacked, but that's on Squarespace, you know? WordPress, that's on you. That's on you. You need to make your site virus and hacker proof. You need to go install your SSL cert. Some of those things we talked about in must-have. You need to go and make sure that all of your plugins are constantly updated. So like Marie Forleo, I noticed had all, you know, in B School, I'll tell you about the 25 plugins. 25 plugins that we would recommend for your WordPress site. Folks, those plugins are all made by different, mostly by different entities. And sure, like they could be vouched for by, you know, Marie, they could be vouched for by, you know, Joe McGuruton. But it's your job and it's your risk if that goes out of date, or it's your problem to solve if that plugin suddenly conflicts with your WordPress theme. So you start seeing the major difference here between that and Squarespace, where Squarespace, it's their job to make sure all of their tools fit together. And if it doesn't, you give them you say, hey, it didn't work. What's going on? They fix it for you. You know, it's like, and that's all in your less than $250 per year Squarespace plan. Like that's why it was a no-brainer for me to go and teach Squarespace for Experts Academy purposes. You know, if you want to get started fast and you want to reduce risk and you want to keep your costs low and you want to like get in there and, you know, learn how to do this yourself within a reasonable time frame, then I can't do that on WordPress. So anyways, that was a long diatribe. I hope that makes sense. Oh no, here's the other one Sherrard talked about is the, oh no, 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 it's not perfect. Or worse, it's not 11 out of 10. That's the magical unicorn of building your brand and building your website and getting your tech out and doing this in a reasonable time frame is the relentless pursuit of perfection raccoon. I think it was my sister Kara. Happy birthday, Kara. My sister Kara, who introduced me to this, their YouTube videos of little baby raccoons in a little basin of water. And I guess they get their hands wet and they just keep cleaning ad infinitum. Like they just can't stop. That's the same thing. You start getting the flood of water coming over the sink as you go on this chase for perfection that does not exist. That's why in Launch 31, I really try to embody and show you guys a 7 out of 10 or better philosophy. And John, you know, over here, he was a conversion rate optimization guy. He's going to look at your pages and go, how do we go from 7 to 8 and 8 to 9 and 9 to 10? I don't think you believe, John, that 10 out of 10 exists out there.
Apple is a 10. Apple.com is a 10.
Apple.
You shouldn't go for that.
Apple.com is the 10. Okay, I'll give you that.
But that's not what most people should be striving for.
Yeah, and how much cash do they have on hand? Is it $100 billion?
$100 billion website. Yeah.
$100 billion in cash company. So that's what it takes. But 11 out of 10, So I'd say get it out there. Okay, 2 more, and then we'll wrap up. This is the technophobe hedgehog, who just, you know, I said this in the beginning, if you believe in your heart of hearts that you cannot learn tech, or that tech falls apart as a result of you touching it, or that your keyboard's going to explode if you learn how to copy and paste, you know, from your keyboard, or that anything you do in tech is just going to look awful, then it will. All of those will come true. So if you don't have again, these are critters. If you just can't shift that paradigm about yourself, then that's where you'll stay. On to the last one. Yo, this one goes deep. And let me know if this is something that you've experienced. Some people, I feel, go into this world, go into the thought leadership authority space with it just almost over the top confidence and courage. And like, you know, it's that promoter archetype. It's that speaker archetype. It's the motivational, you know, anything can happen, I've got this person. Those are the people that really, if they pair that with hard work and humility and empathy and listening to an audience, if they combine those things, those 3 things, that's Brendan, you know, exploding out of nowhere, seemingly, you know. That's Marie. They had skills that just took off, and it was paired with the confidence and courage and the ballsiness of saying, I am an expert. I am a thought leader. People should listen to me. I have something of value. So it's the opposite end of the spectrum from what Bruce was communicating, right? Between the lines. On the other side of that is a fear. And that's where is this hedgehog? I think this is the hedgehog or mole. No, it's a little mole maybe. Anyways, I can't remember exactly what critter this is, but this is the person who is just deathly afraid of putting their expression out there and being called a liar, being called a sham, being called nasty stuff, because it will happen. You know, you put up a YouTube and someone comes in and says, WTF, man, just stop, like shoot yourself. Whoa. Now that starts happening randomly a lot. You know, every time you post, someone's just got it out for you. You know, there's some really sick minds out there that just like poking at people's frailties and vulnerabilities. And it does take a willingness to be vulnerable to go and do this business. So what will they say about me? What will they say about me? If that's what's going to keep you in the hole, then it's something to work through before you buy any courses, before you go and build a website. You know, it's something to decide, I'm going to overcome that. You know, I'm going to do some work. I'm going to get a therapist. I'm going to get a life coach. I'm going to get a friend who just tells me the reality that I am whole. I do have value. What I offer to the world has extreme value. Surround yourself with that message until you feel comfortable doing it in the very, very public, sometimes agnostic and egregiously mean universe of the internet. Okay? Any other questions? Those are my 7 critters. If you want to chat which ones you resonated with the most, which ones you're working on in the chat, that'd be very useful. You know, just to understand where you're coming from. So I don't see anything else in here. So with that, guys, I'll give you one more minute. We're about 90 minutes in. Kevin, the bird, beginner bird. Yeah, that's a pure place to be in, a vulnerable expression there, Kevin. I appreciate that. It's just, I'm just getting going. You know, nothing wrong with that. It's just, it's not even really a psychological critter. You know, it's more of just a reality that, yeah, I got a lot to learn. Now I just need to figure out where I want to learn it, you know, and how I want to learn it, and what's my game plan, you know. Any others feel resonance around one of those 7 critters? I'll go through them real quick again, and then we'll wrap up. Beginner bird, procrastination turtle, bright shiny object squirrel, motivational seesaw bear, budget sensitive monkey who thinks he's eating a banana, but it's actually his tail. The relentless perfection or pursuit of perfection raccoon, the technophobic hedgehog, or is that porcupine? Technophobic porcupine, and then just sort of afraid to shine their light hedgehog. I think there's a better title for that one, but that's basically it. I'm afraid. I'm afraid to put myself out there. Hedgehog. Okay. Well, I don't see anybody suggesting which ones they resonate towards or feel like they're working through. Nancy, there you go. Technophobic. It's okay. You can announce it. I think we can have a lot of fun with this. You know, this is something you'll continue. I support you in Launch 31 on these things. I reference these critters, you know, because there are times where this stuff will come up when you're in the throes of putting together your lead magnet. You know, this comes up. What do I have, this hedgehog? What do I have of value that I would offer for someone's email? Think about that, folks. Just think about the question and what that implies. What do I have of value inside here in my life experience, in my history, that is worth someone's email? To me, if you're asking that question, we have some work to do. There's some work to do, folks. And it's certainly not website work. You know, it's not marketing technology work. It's in heart, mind, that soul, that work. So, but yeah, that stuff will crop up throughout a program like Launch 31 or B-School or any other program. Okay, well, I don't see any other chat. I don't see any other questions. So with that, I hope this was very, very useful and instructive, and just give you some insights to go and build your brand. I hope to do this again sometime soon. We'll do another AMA now that we're all hip and know the acronyms. And I just hope that you'll go out and start doing this. You start overcoming those critters and start doing some of the work that I outlined throughout the workshop, and that you come ready to play on Monday morning, 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern. Just come ready to play and make your decision about which way you want to go. But definitely, you know, come ready to put a stake in the ground or a flag up on the top of the mountain and say, I'm going 45 days from now. I will have something, you know, out there to express who I am and my value to the world, and how people can build a relationship with me. Okay, Sandy, I'm probably going to answer your question offline because I feel like I just did a close of the session. But I'll send you an email with your question specifically about optimized price. Does that sound good? Okay, with that, folks, remember, I'm Jam at Peaceful Media. Remember to love more, play more, and do more good. Peace. I'm out.